range. As you can see, start date 1st Jan 2009, end date 31st November 2009. They click and they see the operations. Operation count at this stage starts up just with the operation count 1116. Now they want, you can see on the left that there are certain parameters that we have given them. Surgeon, whether it's elective emergency, the operation category. So they want to analyze by, say, operation category. What they do is they click on operation category and drag it and drop it on that 1116. You can't see the cursor, but that's dropped on 1116, and immediately it breaks it up into operation category. Takes 10 seconds, 15 seconds, right? And at any stage, they want to click on any one of them, and you can see the patient's details, the registration number, age, date of admission, all the details. So the data analysis is available just like that. So the lesson is, do not start EMR implementation till some carrots are ready, because you'll not be able to push it. What happens is, the experience in some hospitals is, you sit there, sit on their heads, they do something, you move to the next department, come back after 3 months, you find they've stopped doing it. But we haven't had this problem. When they start, they have started it. I have not come across a single department that has actually regressed, because we made sure that they got the carrots. Registration number can read it. Yes, you can have securities. Our system allows you all levels of securities. But the question is, should you, in the case of operation notes, for instance, put the security and say only surgeon A who was operated can see it? Tomorrow surgeon A has left the hospital. Or surgeon B is now taking care of this patient because the patient has come after 3 years. He wants to see what happened last time. So we have opened up the securities. This has been a very controversial decision. But we have removed the securities for clinical records. We said patient care is paramount importance. Yes, this is a controversial decision. I'm sure 50% of you will get up and say wrong. That 50% will also get up and say right. Because if we can give this patient better medical care in subsequent admission because we had access to a good clinical record, is it not worth it? Who comes first, the patient's life or the lawyer's? I think patient's life comes first. Even within the hospital, there has been a lot of criticism, but I have held fast and I've said, fine. There are legal issues. The IT Act 2000 says that if you have a digitally signed record, then you can submit it in a court of law. But how do you present such a voluminous electronic physical data record in a court? Will you call the judge over and say, this is our server, come and open it, or we take your laptop there? And I have met people who have said that, yes, we have tried to submit digitally signed electronic records, and the court has said, maybe the revision of the law is that we will accept it, but actual practice, I don't understand, I am not accepting it. Show me paper records. So, for that reason, we are having to continue paper records also. So that is why I said he logs in, he enters, he signs, and then he enters on paper. We are mandating that everything is entered on paper. Because legally, the electronic medical records, till some precedence has been set, really have no standing in India. Although the law is there, the interpretation is not very clear. So we are continuing with paper records. And I met one of my colleagues who is from SGPGI, and they have 100% data entry for the last 11 years in SGPGI Lucknow. But they have 100% paper records also. They also feel the same thing. Different people may have different views, but I haven't had the guts to get paper records moved yet. Can we really do away paper completely? Even if we could, is it worth it? Is it wise to print all the entries? For instance, progress notes. This is another hospital in Gurgaon where they enter all the progress notes, but they say, fine, we are going to have paper records. So the progress note is printed out and signed and filed. So they have their cake and eat it too. But look at this. The doctor comes and says, patient slept well, prints out, signs. Then 1 hour later, the senior person comes and says, abdomen soft, non-tender, prints out, signs. So you have got sheets and sheets with 2 lines, 3 lines on it. And case sheets are this thick. Is it worth it? Who is going to look at the paper records? I'm a surgeon. If I have a patient I'm going to reoperate, and I ask for the old case sheet of the patient. What do I look at first? First, I look at the history of the patient. This is a thick case sheet that comes, let's say, from the medical records. First, I read the clinical presentation. What did the patient present with? What were his findings? Then I read the operation notes to see what was done last time, and at the end, I will read the discharge summary. I will definitely not go and read day by day what happened to the patient. Patient slept well last night. Patient had fever. Crocin given. No. So progress notes are okay, you're entering them, but there is very minimal return from them. So if you can cut down on that in the EMR, don't enter progress notes, you've really not lost anything. Oh. A very controversial decision. Who actually enters the data, doctors or transcriptionists? Frankly, if we had made it mandatory for our doctors to enter all the clinical data, the project would have never gone off the ground. So we ask medical transcriptionists to enter, or the residents to enter. Some departments residents are entering, some are medical transcriptionists are entering. The doctors verify everything and they sign before it goes. Right? Now, really, I don't think whatever hospitals may say that they get all the doctors to do all the entries. No, really, it doesn't happen that way. If I get medical transcriptions to enter the data, maybe I have 80% accuracy compared to 100% the doctors will enter. But with 80% accuracy, if I have a clinical history of the patient which is 80% accurate, over a period of 10 years that the patient has come to the hospital so many times, I'm still okay. Compared to no entry because doctors refuse to do it. Yes, to make it easy for the medical transcriptionist to enter, we have modified the clerking sheets. This is what our case sheets are like. So the doctor enters everything in boxes, and these are exactly the screens of the HIS. So the transcriptionist doesn't keep on flipping the case sheet and saying, where is this information stored? What she sees is what she enters. So it makes it very easy, less chance of mistakes. Hospital workload. Nearly paperless workflows are possible where the workload is not crippling. I have said hospital with a low workload, find it very easy. But when saturation limit comes in, then the person who is implementing has to say, okay, if instead of 2 minutes, if I can make it 1 minute and 50 seconds, that means cut off 10 seconds, in a heavy workload, that 10 seconds could add up to 2 hours time saved in a day. So that fine-tuning is very, very important. Systems, HI systems are designed for an environment like this. You want to do ticketing one by one, RFIDs, you can do it, but this is the situation in India. This is what happens. Similarly, HISs are designed for an OPD like this, but this is our OPD. And the flow continues hours and hours. So we have not implemented the electronic medical record in the OPD. We have done it only for inpatients. A compromise, certainly I've heard a lot of criticisms, but no, it's not possible in this workflow. So just a little bit about ourselves. We have 650 beds, 320 consultants, a lot of residents also. And inpatients, if you see per day, we have 195 admissions per day, 1,100 outpatients per day, 85 operations per day. And this is an example ER which is filled. I know it's not clear, but doctors and the residents in pediatrics, for instance, pediatric surgery, high volume, still the residents are entering all the 100%, all the data. And you can see that the volume that they've entered, the diagnosis, the histories, pretty much detailed, operation notes, quite detailed. And this is the last slide, which tells how much we have achieved till now. We have not touched 50%. But this 50% comes to about 100 or about 90, 95 discharges per day where full medical entry is done. Which is a lot. 90, 95 per day is a lot. It will take time for us to reach 100%, which is about 200 per day. But it's a matter of time. We know we're on the right track. Thank you.